All right. It says I'm live. At the baseball field today, we've been in my son is in the tournament, the Little League tournament and district play right now. We've lost our first two games. We have two games left. Pretty much they have to win the next two to advance, to at least get a chance to play in the final game. Uh, so anyway, so I've been thinking I haven't really come to any conclusion about what I'm going to do when I start, if I even do the room itself, because well, honestly, you get some of the I kind of recognize that I get the hate. That goes without question, that when you put yourself out, you get the hate. And I've run a website and a business long enough to know that I've got my fair share of haters that believe that I'm. Wait. So the thing that I kind of want to talk about just for a little bit and then move on today, being the fourth of the week of the fourth. Couple things that I want to talk about. One, you shouldn't really be trading this week. This week's kind of a rough week to be day trading. So I would tell you that you want to lay off the week of the 4th, which is obviously this week that we're in right now here in the States and around the world. The volatility dries up, the volume dries up a lot of times. There's an event. Now, people have asked me in the past, when I was running a room previously, I used to follow 6 markets. And the thing at Top Step Trader, one of the things that you got to understand, and why I just trade the crude oil market, not crude oil plus gold, the ES or the YM, and pick up a bond, go and get a grain and all this other. Each one of these markets that you open up and trade at Top Step Trader is an additional cost once you're funded. What do I mean by that? The crude oil market is traded through the NYMEX. So when you're trading the crude oil market, that's one market that you have to pay for, and I believe it's 101 now. And it used to be 80 something, and I believe it's $101. You can quote me if those that know can put that answer down below. But they bumped the fees up in February. They also got rid of FTP being free, so they've changed the rules a little bit. But regardless, one of the things that Top Step Trader that you got to keep in mind is every new market. So for instance, let's say that you're not made of money, and that's kind of the way I've approached my trading as it relates to how I have approached. If you go back and look at the history of the blog, it's always been about trying to work with the small account trader. And the small account trader, as it relates to Top Step Trader, shouldn't be trading any more than one market. Now, you pick your market. You might like the ES, you might like the bonds, you might like the grains, you like the metals like gold, or you pick the crude oil market like I did. But each one of those, so if you're trading in the bond market, if you're trading in the grains, and that's another market. So each one of these markets that you go into, you can be paying not just $101 just for, like, you think that, okay, I'm trading 5 markets, therefore I only have to trade, I'm only going to pay the 101 one time. That's not true. Every market that you open up, NYMEX, COMEX, the what used to be CBOT and the CME, each one of these little markets that you open up, you have to pay for. So a lot of traders that are trading in 3 different markets are not paying 100, you're paying per month, and you got to pay that before you make any money at all. So there really is no reprieve in between. You have your combine, right? You're paying 150 up to what, 3 something, whatever the 150. And I always recommend that you should start either at the 30K or the 50K. That's the only 2 marks that I would tell you to start this with, because the benefit of trading what is the 100K and the 100 and the 150K, you can only in the scaled plan, you can only trade up to 3 contracts in that. You can trade up to 2 in the 30 and the 50K. But the greatest benefit of trading more is to be able to trade more in contract size, and you can't do that in a scaled plan, and it's not worth the money to expended to grab that one extra contract to be able to trade 3 contracts at the 150K, because you have to still make money. Everyone starts, when you're funded, you start at 0. You don't, it's not really, so really, if you think about what Top Step Trader has to do, they only have to have a margin account about $4,500 to $5,500 per new trader that they bring into the funded account. You're not really trading $150,000. You're just trading the day trading margin of whatever. And a lot of times day trading margin is only a half, and with a company like that that's got the master account, it's probably only 1/4, if that, to be able to fund you. So most likely they've only probably got at risk $2,000 or $3,000 per funded trader that they bring on. So that's what I think, and that kind of makes sense. The business model that you have, if you can only trade 2 contracts and funded at any given time, well, they limit you. And if day trading margin, let's say it's $1,500 for the first, and then $1,000 for the second, or $1,500 per each one of those, then that's only $3,000 that they have to put the net equity out on the line for in any given time. And then with like the max daily loss component to it, they're really, and you knock out that at 500 or 1,000 weekly loss, or the 500 on the other side, they've really limited their risk. I mean, their business model is made to just make money. And like some people are saying, that's why I trade just one one market as it relates to Top Step Trader, because it doesn't make sense to have 6 different markets when you're going to have to pay $300 to $500 a month in the funded account. It's better to just trade that one market that you feel most confident with, build up your equity, and then move to your own margin account on your own, and then work with your broker to be able to. You're not going to be a professional trader with your broker, and you're not going to be recognized the way that they recognize you at Top Step Trader. That each one of these has to be a different. Each market has to pay, and they don't eat any of that money. So you're paying market, and if you're paying if you're in 3 different, so if you're in the CME, you're in the NYMEX, you're in ICE, or any of the other markets that you're in each one of those markets that you're opening up, you've got to pay the 101 to 101 to 101. So in this case, the 303, if you have 3 different markets, if they're not correlated in the same market. So hopefully that helps as I relate to how I think, why I do, and how I approach the Top Step Trader arena that we're in. When I first got started, if you go back and look at the very first video that I put together at Top Step Trader, it was a challenge to see if I could get into funded. And it's not hard to get into funded. What's hard is to stay in funded, because back in you've got to pull far enough away from your max trailing drawdown that when you do have that drawdown, you're able to survive that drawdown that you had. Now, I've been able to pull out over the time period. I've pulled out some, not a great amount of money, but I've been able to pull out some money along the way. Now, I'm still in it more than so in other words, I've expended more at Top Step Trader than I've made with them. But the other side of the coin is, would I have lost more money having my own margin account in a day trading arena right now with the way their rules are? And I think that I would have lost more money. It's a different ball of wax, and you're related to positional trading and being able to hold overnight, and you have a greater amount of money that you can risk. You might be able to risk $1 or $2 to end up go after $5 to $7. So you're looking at you're looking at, you know, to make 7,000 to 5,000 on a $1,000 risk. It's a lot. If you can afford the 1,000 risk with the potential to get 2 to 3 to 2, you know, each trade that I take positionally or swing related, I want a 2 to 1 or greater on each trade. Now, you can't always get that when you're day trading. Now, I've kind of, as I've been doing my research, I've kind of found that volume, and that's how I handle my positional trading, is I see volume kicking in, and then I am able to withstand pretty much any uptick that comes into the market. And finally I'm able to because the capitulation in the market that comes, and you see it as it relates. I mean, it comes in a flurry of activity. If you've noticed any tops along the ways, and you know what I'm talking about when you see a top, lots of volume, exchanges hands. That's one way that you see a top. The other way you see a top is that they go test it and there's nothing there. There's no volume, it's all dried up, and there's just no interest at that level, and then it trails off. So that's the two ways that you see volume and you see the market turning over. And when you're wrong, then you're obviously looking for the exit doors as well. But it makes more sense when you're positional trade. You physically can't take, if you would, you could take a trade and you could honestly, let's say for the 30K account with a $500, you could physically, with the $3.70 charge on the combine right now, you could put a 48 to 49 tick stop loss on the trade and see, and then go after whatever target. And I've thought about that in the past, is that I find the level that I believe that makes the most sense in, and then I hold that trade at the max amount of loss that I can in that trade. And I've debated about that as well. Can I translate the way that I trade positionally and swing traded related to the day trading arena and also make it work at Top Step Trader? That's kind of the thought process that I've worked inside the background. But a lot of times you think, well, I don't want to risk that much. And then the way the crude oil market's going right now, every time it goes down, it will come back up. And the same thing on the other side. The drawbacks and the market coming back, a lot of times, it'll come back to a point greater than you expect a lot of times, and it's hard to hold on to those trades. And you know, that's what makes it a little bit, you know, when do you move to break even? When do you the psychology of trading side of it, it's not easy. Trading's never been easy, and with the limitations that you have at Top Step Trader, the biggest gain that you got at Top Step Trader, and it's always going to be the biggest gain, it's not your money when you're in the funded account. You're trading their money, and regardless if it's 1,500 margin or 3,000 margin or whatever the amount is that they start with, you have the ability to take basically from zero and build something from basically something from nothing. That's the greatest appeal of what Top Step Trader is to me, is to build something from nothing. Yeah, you know, it's a lot easier if you got money to make money. There's no doubt about that. And it's also a lot easier to lose money when you have money in trading too, if you come in it with the attitude like, I'm always right. So that's kind of the psychology side that I wanted to talk about today, as I was thinking about over the weekend. I haven't made any determinations what I'm going to do with the day trade room. I believe that you know, the GoFundMe idea is probably the best way of approaching it right now. Obviously, you know, people need proof before they would give money, and I understand that. I would be in the same boat as well. Would I help someone out that I believe is doing well and helping me? Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. That when I look back at the people that I've supported at GoFundMe, it's been like, it was like, don't let the left hand know what the right hand's doing. It's usually a cancer or someone that's really in dire straits that needs a little, you know, a hand up in this case. as it relates to GoFundMe, I believe that that's probably the best way to approach it right now, to the good of the people that are out there, as opposed to, yeah, I mean, I can go back to 1, 2, 3 day trade and I can just charge for everything again. I can put all my stuff out there and put a price tag to it. That's not what I want to do. But that's what I can do. I mean, I can add. Right now, everything that's out there that I've got, I have no. I don't have an email service. I don't have a lot of things right now. And it's nice, when I get up in the morning, the only questions I'm usually answering are those that know my email, one, and which is kind of a benefit. Most of the people that say something on YouTube, for the most part, they're always criticizing or telling me how bad of a person I am or how I'm doing everything wrong. So I don't really enjoy reading comments in YouTube a lot of times. So, and you'll notice that I only read once a week now because I've got away from negative inputs, what I've done in my life. I don't know how you do it, but I get away from all the negative that I can. I don't like to watch the news. I don't like to surround myself with negative people. I'm a pessimist as it is right now. I don't need other pessimist people to be dragging me down. So the best way not to be dragged down is not to even, when I do go read the comments, usually I'm in a good frame of mind when I'm sitting there and I'll go through it and then I'll think, yeah, that person's got a good point, and this person's full of shit. This person's an idiot, so I can go back and I can look at some of the comments, and then with a good when I'm in a good mood, basically. If I'm in a bad mood, when I'm looking some real shit stuff to people, and I don't, you don't need to hear that, and I don't like to write that kind of stuff. So, and I find myself, with the hecklers, they always come out of the woodwork when you ask for money. But the best way, I believe, to ask for money is to, I guess in this case, prove myself to you that I've got something valid. And then, and if it doesn't get 30 days passes and we get half the goal, and then, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But if I go 30 days and I'm doing good and there's nothing there, well, I can guarantee you I'll just shut down and go back to under the woodwork that I've been in the past. And that's kind of what I'm thinking right now, that the month of August, working all the way, I didn't want to set up a day trading room and charge per month, because I think that I don't want to lock myself down like some of these traders out there that that they have a room open 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. That's not the way that I envision me ever trading. I look at myself as maybe a session, trading a couple hours here and there. I mean, 5 days, 4 days a week, but still maybe trading, 2.5 to 3 hours and then shutting it down. So, and there's plenty enough opportunity inside a 3 to 4 hour window to be able to make money. And there's also a great opportunity to lose money inside that same window as well. So what I've come to, as far as my conclusion that I believe in, is that the more that I've recognized volume, and the more that I've recognized the tick chart, I believe that my tick chart should be used to determine an area that has potential to be able to start that trade sequence. A lot of my losing that I find myself doing more times than not is that I open up with that losing trade to start with on no volume, and then that starts me scaling, trying to see something that's not there, and the next thing I know, I'm down 30, 40 ticks, and I'm thinking, then I get to the point where I just say, fuck it, and I hit max daily loss and I hit the reset button. Because, like the last time that I did that, I mean, I was trading 8 or 9 days and I was up 900, then I'd fall down 600, 700, then I went back up again, and it's a very frustrating. And when you start working with that max trailing drawdown bullshit that they have behind you, that once you're up 900, you don't have 1500, you have 1500 from that 900, But once you get back to zero, if you go back to zero at that point, back basically to 30K, you only have another $400 or $500 that you can draw down to at that point. So to me, I don't know it's the right thing to do. The $100 to me is like, I'll hit the reset button and I'll start with the 1500 again and see how far I can push off that zero again. Because I believe the answer at Top Step Trader, and I still believe this is the answer, is you've got to pull far enough away from zero so that when you do hit your drawdown, max trailing drawdown, because eventually when you get to 1500 and 1501, it doesn't, the max trailing drawdown doesn't come after you anymore. It stays at, in that case, in the combine, it stays at 30K, and funded, it stays at zero. So eventually you get to the point. So you've got, the answer really comes into how far can you pull away from the drawdown as it relates to Top Step Trader. So as I was reading, what the last comment that I'll bring in right now is less is better, more is worse. So that's where I think that you can win the day, is that you've got to pick your spot, and you've got to stop worrying so much about the individual trades that you put on. You know you're going to pay the 150 or 165 or whatever you're going to pay, and you're going to pay it maybe 2-3 months to be able to get two funded. So stop worrying about the little things about Top Step Trader nickeling and diming your ass, because that's what it's all about. The goal at this case is still the same: get the funded, and then take money from them. So you know, if your expenditure is 450 or 500 or 600 or 1,000, to be able to pull away $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 from them, then the same goal is still good, right? And trust me when it comes to this, when you have a $10,000 futures margin account, it doesn't take a long period of time to lose half that account if you don't know what you're doing. So the safe environment when you're a brand new trader, to be able to only expend $150, that's your max loss, maybe with a reset or two. So you've got, you know, so maybe around, you got 450, 150, 250, about 350 a month that you're expending at Top Step Trader. Trust me, there, 350 in a month is much greater than one day losing 1,000. And those that know how easy it is to lose $1,000 in the futures market. If you've had any experience at all, a lot of us come to Top Step Trader because, well, frankly, in the day trading arena, we haven't done so well. So that's why it was appealing to me in the beginning of time, is that the Top Step Trader in the day trading arena was something that if you look back at a guy like Larry Williams, he'll tell you flat out that all day traders can't win, that they all suck. So case scenario is they're just breaking even, and most of them, and in this case he would say that the odds of success are one out of 100 to 1 out of 250, I believe he was said at one time. So if you think about that, then it's not losing rate as it relates to day traders. And when you look at Top Step Trader and those that make money in the funded account, they're for everyone that comes in. Like recently, they said we've funded 500 traders in the month since the beginning of the year. We're on these all their targets. Yeah, they funded a bunch of people, but how many have actually been successful? Well, I want to tell you, maybe 10, maybe 5 of those 500 funded traders. There's not, it's still, even when you get funded, it's not like, oh my God, I got the holy grail now. No, it's not that way, because in the end, you've still got to be able to withstand your drawdown that you're going to, everybody's going to have it. Anyone that says that they don't have losing days that relate to trading, I don't know. I always said to grab your wallet and run the other way as quickly as possible. Right now I'm sitting here watching my son. I think they're just about done practicing for the day. So I hope that this is kind of like that Psych 101 thing that I was thinking about doing. Um, I don't know. I know I've been at it quite a long time as it relates to Top Step Trader, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be. But I also know that I'm a lot better than off than most other people are as well. Uh, yeah, I get involved and into the minutia of the trade, and I think that's what 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 causes some of the downfall. That when I look back, and you look back in hindsight, you can always find that place that you have that you made your mistake, or that you made that neat thing that turned out to be the winning side of it. Um, like, hindsight's always a winner, though. When you look back in hindsight, you're always a winner. And it's hard to look at ourselves as losers as it relates to trading. It just because most of us have come from some form of success in the past, and then when we come to trading, it's like, holy shit, again. And it's not fun. And we all know that have any realm of trading, that a 30% winning rate can put you into the Hall of Fame. And one of the things I'll leave you with is since I'm watching baseball today, is that if you can bat 333%, 1 out of 3, you can put yourself in the Hall of Fame as a baseball player in the major leagues. So being able to go at that, so in other words, be able to go 1 for 3 as a career, and being able to find that kind of success, that's the kind of success that will bring you more times than not to the winner's circle as it relates to trading. Because most of my positional trading, most of my swing trading, that I'm no greater than 35% winning rate. So, but when I do hit something, I'm going to hit it for a home run a lot of times. The best trade I've had for this year was to be able, when I held, was it the July contract, and exited on June 15th. That was the best swing trade, I guess the positional trading that I had, because when I saw it topping out at the 70s, and then I didn't want to roll into August, so I stayed out of it. But day trading is tough. I can't express that as you think that Here's something that I'll leave you with, I guess. When you lose that first trade and you're only down 10 ticks, you look at yourself and you say, oh, I'm only down $100, no big deal, I can get that back. And all of a sudden, maybe your next trade you half that loss and you're down at 5, and then your third trade then you minus 10 again, you're down 15. Oh, no big deal, I'm down 15, no big deal. Next thing you're down 25 ticks, and you think, all right, I'm all right, everything's good. And then you have that trade where at that point, if you would exit right at that certain point, that you would win 1 or 2 ticks in the day. One of the things that I've questioned myself about is, when do you say, okay, I'm down, let's take the money and run, thank God above, be able to get to 0 again in this trade for the next day? Does it make more sense to get rid of to just get the break-even trading day on the day that you're losing, or does it make sense to hold it and then go forward? There's 2 schools of thought when it relates to that. How quick is the market moving? If the market's moving fast, then I'm going to hold on to it and see where it takes me to. But if it's bottoming out and I see the volume kicking in on the other side, then yeah, I'm going to find that exit door. I'm going to take that 1 or 2 5-tick gain and move on to hope the next day's a little bit better. But the other side of that, when you hit that minus 25, there's a huge difference when you hit that next one, at least that relates to Top Step Trader, and the 35 for me. Then I start thinking, well, I'm 15 ticks away, really less than that, from hitting max daily loss. I'm down $350. What's the big difference of going down $450 as opposed? And right now, that's kind of the thought process that I have to get away from. I've got to be able to say, you know what, I'm down $350. I'm done. I'm done, obviously, because honestly, the odds of you hitting that next trade perfect are slim at that point, because you're not in the right mindset when you're hitting down minus 35 and when you're closing in on max daily loss. At least for me, I found most of my losing day once I crossed that minus 30. So once I crossed that minus 30 ticks, there's a huge difference in going down minus 48 to minus 30, and that a lot of that is the psychological component that allows you to keep trading to that crest of losing your combine and having to hit that reset button. So in other words, what I'd leave you with is, if you have a minus 30 day and you have a $1,500 drawdown, you have 4 extra days to be able to go at it. But if you knock out close to 50, you only have, and you go at 50 each time, you only have 2 more days. So the other side of that, taking out the minus 30 as opposed to the minus 50, is that you're giving yourself more opportunity to make that money back. And I honestly believe, as it relates to most trading, that making back 300 on any given day is a hell of a lot easier than making back minus 500 or close to it. All right, that's it. This is Dave Knight here from 123daytrade.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. I don't know how all this live stuff works as far as comments go. If there were comments, I thank you. Hopefully I'll get better at this as time moves on. I'll talk to you in the next video I'll put together. Bye for now.